My name is Heidi Messer, and I am chairman and co-founder of Collective I, the knowledge network that creates enterprise value out of business and marketing data. Prior to Collective I co-founded and ran LinkShare until its sale to Rakuten in 2005 for $425 million. And I'm here to introduce today's topic, socializing big data. Big data is all about distilling massive amounts of information into insights with tremendous strategic value. So I'm going to practice what I preach and employ a Japanese presentation technique called pechakucha. The idea is to convey your message in 20 slides lasting 20 seconds each. So for those of you who need help with math, I have 6 minutes to introduce the topic of big data and its enormous importance. So here goes. What is big data? Big data Big data is the term that describes a set of opportunities and issues that arise when the data sets generated doing business are so large that neither humans nor spreadsheets can process them. The interesting issues arise not on how to store the data, I'll leave that to the engineers, but rather how to realize its value as a strategic asset. So why should you care? Consider this. Somehow, despite the worst global economic downturn since the Great Depression, companies like Apple, Amazon, Google, and Facebook enjoy double and triple-digit growth. In a good economy, their performance would be remarkable. In this economy, it's miraculous. What are these companies doing right when all else is failing? I'm going to argue that the secret is in their use of data. These companies all have products, networks, and services, but what's distinctive is how central data is to all of their operations. For example, did you know that 35% of Amazon's sales are generated from the recommendation engine they created to analyze consumer preferences? Business is at an inflection point, and big data is about to profoundly change the way we all operate. To make my case, I'm going to draw on the historical example of Henry Ford and how he established the automotive industry. It's worth noting that Henry Ford did not even invent the automobile. Even in 1901, horseless carriages had been a plaything of the extremely wealthy for over 15 years. Ford recognized that his contemporaries had missed an opportunity. Cars need not be a luxury. The market could and should include the masses. I will build a motor car for the great multitudes, Ford proclaimed upon the birth of the Model T in 1908. To achieve his vision, Ford relied on a neglected asset, human labor. First, he streamlined the production of inexpensive cars with an efficient new labor process, the assembly line. Second, Ford did something that was unheard of. He more than doubled his workers' pay. His goal was to build less expensive cars and to create a larger market through his employees, who could now purchase the vehicles they produced. This philosophy, or paradigm shift, or whatever you want to call it, required thinking about human capital as an overlooked asset. Unlocking its value had stunning global implications. The car became the propeller of a new, more connected economy. It opened new markets, it changed where people lived, how they worked, and the goods and services they delivered. So you may be wondering what this story could possibly have to do with big data. Well, I believe that big data will be as revolutionary to business as the car was to modern life. How organizations use data collected in the course of doing business will reshape it. Every company will need a data strategy to ensure their future in the digital age. Today, companies use data to judge their business. Going forward, companies will use data to make markets. Viewing data as an asset class rather than a byproduct changes the game. Companies, and countries for that matter, that keep doing things the old way will experience the fate of the horse-drawn carriage and fall farther and farther behind. In the past, the strategic advantages of big data were a luxury for a select few. There were behemoths like Walmart and Tesco who could afford the expensive systems that analyzed data and turned it into an advantage. Today, it's the internet giants like Google and Facebook whose entire businesses are built around the strategic use of data. But the internet is the great equalizer. It has enabled all companies to collect hordes of data from both traditional and new sources, like Facebook, SurveyMonkey, and Twitter. The challenge is turning data into something valuable and to solve for organizational silos, limited access to data, and the time-consuming process of compiling data from numerous sources. Until recently, the cost of simply making sense of data outweighed the benefits. What's changed is the emergence of what we're calling knowledge networks, platforms like Collective Eye that enable any organization to analyze and socialize data like a Google or Facebook. My view is that knowledge networks will democratize the use of data, just as Ford's assembly line helped democratize the car. In the coming years, we will witness a divide between companies that choose to use their data and those who do not. The ones who fail to seize this tremendous opportunity will go the way of the horse. It's time to adapt or risk falling farther and farther behind. So to illustrate my point, I've tried to isolate characteristics of organizations destined to fail for lack of a big data strategy. They stifle information, they listen selectively, they use ineffective distribution channels to disseminate ideas. Inevitably, they fail spectacularly to their data-savvy adversaries. In contrast, what are the characteristics of those who are succeeding? More than merely measuring execution, data informs their strategy and is central to all of their business. Data is shared and accessible to those who need it when they need it. Data isn't an afterthought, it's their biggest asset. This wave of change is already in motion, but DLD is about looking ahead. What will happen when more and more companies start using data strategically and mere insights are not enough? I predict that in the future, the hard work will be the differentiation through brand building and strategic alliances, pioneered by companies like Nike and Apple. When the problem of analyzing big data is automated by technologies like ours, I also predict there will be a renaissance of sorts. Creativity and vision will be critical to success. As Ford himself once said, thinking is the hardest work there is, which is probably the reason why so few engage in it. In an era when everyone around the world can send a message to anyone around the world, distribution is a commodity. Brand and customer relationships are your only differentiators. Those who fuse what they learn from their data with inspired and creative thinking will pull ahead. Humans have the unique capacity to innovate. My view is that creativity, especially in marketing, has been pushed to the sidelines due to the challenges of managing the explosion of data. With knowledge networking, I think creativity and innovation will make a huge comeback.